I'm burping so much while I'm filming. Okay. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I have been waiting 2 years to do this video, so I'm so excited to do it, and it's going to be reviewing my favorite book series in the world, the Keeper of the Lost City series by Shannon Messenger. Yo, hello guys! As you guys know, I have a whole nother channel, or as most of you guys know, I have a whole nother channel called the KotLC fanbase that I run along with a few friends, where we talk about this series, but I've never really done a review in one long sitting and talk about the books in one long, review. It's gonna be great, it's gonna be a long video, we're just gonna discuss KotLC basically. I'm wearing my mango sweatshirt. We released a bunch of merch, and this is the Mango Army, which started here actually on my Troy Reed's channel, so if you want to get yourself a Mango Army shirt, I'll leave a link in like the comments or the description somewhere. But yeah, I'm so excited to talk about the KotLC series. I'm going to do a review similar to basically what I would do on a normal review. So what I'll do is I'll talk about the first series, a non-spoiler. I'll introduce you guys to the series for anyone who hasn't read the series yet. Then I'm going to spoiler thoughts into the first book, and then do spoiler thoughts for the next 8 books. It's going to be great, and y'all have timestamps in the description so that you don't get spoiled, but I'll go over that more, like if you don't want to get spoiled when it comes to the spoiler parts. I will have a perfectly spoil-friendly video for you guys. Oh, I also forgot to mention, if you are excited for this video, make sure to leave a like. It's one of the best ways to support my channel, and liking my videos is totally free and just shows me that you guys like my content. Also, make sure to leave down a comment down below on what you think of the Keeper of the Lost City series and what you think of my thoughts. Your comments are so appreciated. I love reading through them. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for more bookish content every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. But yeah, let's jump into the first book. Alright guys, so let's jump into like a non-spoiler section of this video. I'm just going to discuss and introduce the Keeper of the Lost City series to anyone who hasn't read it before we delve into more of the spoilers and like the thoughts and the full excruciating details. So basically this series follows Sophie Foster, and Sophie Foster is this 12-year-old girl, and she was 5. She hit her head, and all of a sudden she can hear thoughts. She's also advancing grades very quickly. She's very unusual with all these strange gifts, and one day when she's visiting a museum at a school field trip, she meets this elf, basically, who tells her that she's an elf and that she needs to go to the Lost Cities, go to where she belongs, basically. And so her world is totally turned upside down as she has to enter a whole nother world, go to a whole different elven school, and navigate these different elven politics. And she also realizes that not everyone is like kind of gonna welcome her into this new elven world, and that some people are scared of her, and that some people hate her and want her to go back to the humans. There's this also evil organization that we see starting to kind of come up in the end of the book that starts to like terrorize Sophie, as well as the fact that there is basically she's discovering all these memories of her childhood. She's getting back different like memories, she's triggering everything, and she's also meeting a bunch of new friends of her elves. And this series is just so great between the characters, the settings, the plot. Shannon Messenger's a beautiful author, and she makes every character so unique, so fun. I mean, there's a few characters that kind of fell flat for me, but most of all, like, the characters were really great. I love them so much, and I was able to root for them. Also, the settings were really great. Just seeing how Shannon, like, built up the elven world and the different intelligent species, and also, like, the political structure was really nice. There's an elven government that was going on, how Sophie was able to, like, impact it, as well as, like, different species governments and stuff, and just seeing the different 5, species, like, seeing how they interacted with humans and stuff. That was really cool to me. And there's a lot of interesting politics. Also, just the technology of the elves and the whole different elven culture. Like, Shannon developed that and was so creative and so imaginative with her writing, and just, she planned that out great. It was good. But yeah, I really loved the Keeper of the Lost City series. It was amazing. It's my favorite series ever. That says a lot, basically. It's a really great series. It's a middle grade series, so it's really fun, light, and there's also like a good romance in there too. Like, between 3 characters, there's like this love square that turned into a love triangle, and now there's like this really crazy ship war between the fandoms, and like, it's really great. I love this series so much, and I think that's all I really have to say. Definitely give it a try. The first book is only the start, guys. The conspiracies grow so much deeper within the rest of the series, and we learn so much more about the elven world, and it gets even like better, and I just love this series so much. So I definitely hope you guys are able to read it. But I think that wraps up my non-spoiler thoughts. So if you want to, click off and not hear any spoilers and stuff, definitely go to the timestamp I have in the description called the general series overview. I'm going to be doing like an overview, last minute thoughts of the series at the end of the video. So yeah, definitely go click on that timestamp at the bottom of this video. But now we're going to get into spoiler thoughts. So I assume if you're still watching, you are able to, you want to hear the spoilers. So I don't really have much to say spoiler wise about this book, but I will say, like, kind of start learning about the Black Swan and the Neverseen, and how there's the fires, and how Sophie had to go out and collect the Everblaze and stuff. It was just a really great way to start, like, the conspiracy between the Black Swan and the Neverseen, as well as the whole, like, kidnapping scene. That was, like, the best scene in the book. After the kidnapping, as they get rescued, and then they have to go through Paris to find the lantern and stuff, and she discovers 2 new abilities. I thought that was really cool. And then also the kidnapping set this in for me, like set this interest in for me, because, you know, I just want to learn more about like what's happening and why she got kidnapped, and like it just hooked me, I feel like, because I mean I love the peace and tranquility of Foxfire and her like learning different elven stuff, but I also, oh my god, my camera's about to die. Oh. But yeah, I loved just all the cool things about this, and I love the kidnapping, starting like the whole different conspiracies and stuff. And yeah, I'm gonna get into the next book because my camera's about to die, so I'll see you guys in a second. But yeah, we'll just jump into the second book because my camera's about to die. I'm gonna go charge it, and then we'll dive into the second book. But this book is really great, and I don't have much to discuss about spoilers. But yeah, let's go. Alright guys, I am back now. I just charged my camera, and now we gotta talk about Exile, and I hope the camera is looking kind of like the same. Let's get started with talking about Exile now. I don't have a lot of thoughts about the earlier books. I have more thoughts about the later books. You know, as I've read the series, I keep forgetting about the earlier books, but yeah, that's my thing. This book is basically Sophie in the early start of the book finds a alicorn, which is a very rare creature, so there's only like one other alicorn, and so there's this whole dilemma of her raising the alicorns. There's also this whole ideology with Alden bringing Sophie to heal Fenton's mind, or no, break Fenton's mind, and then Alden starts dealing with guilt and his mind breaks. And then there's also something with Sophie's abilities start to malfunction. All these lights start pulsing around in her head. She starts getting headaches. So those are the 3 main points that I've said about Exile. Every time I talk about Exile, there's the mind breaks, there's the alicorns, and there's the healing. And I feel like these 3 are just a great way to like write a book, like having like 3 main points and like going through each and like mending them together, meshing them together. I thought that was such a great kind of like, you know, way to write a book, and I like how Shannon Messenger, you know, goes through each of them as the book goes on. I thought the whole alicorn like plot line was really nice. Just kind of, you know, discovering her and having to go through many obstacles with being able to take care of her, but then having to do a lot to try to get her ready to be in the sanctuary. And by the end of the book, she's ready for the sanctuary. She's, you know, diving down, and you know, the whole crowd is clapping and stuff, and it's just cool how she like has to interact with this new person. It's like a new character almost. Sylvanie is great. I also really liked the Alden's mind breaking a plot line. That was really cool, and I also kind of liked how it like mixed in with Sophie's abilities, and how when she was able to be healed, she was able to heal Alden's mind as well. Brought in a whole interesting element that'll play into the next books, like the whole mind healing thing. Also, I just loved seeing, you know, Sophie finally be able to go to the Black Swan and like ask questions, and the scene where Sophie and Keith on the alicorn going to, you know, the hideout and stuff, that was so cute to me, and I really enjoyed that scene. And then like being able to talk to Mr. Forkle for the first time, and like getting to learn more information about herself and her parents. It was really great. I love this book so much, and it was kind of, you know, sad to see Alden like not be in it, because Alden was an amazing person like in the first few books. I loved his character. It's kind of sad that he wasn't seen much in the later books, but I loved the whole storyline and the whole plot line again, the 3 main points, and loved the whole mind healing thing and the whole new realm of possibilities that Sophie can do with this new ability. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book. That's really all I got to say. So I guess let's get into the next book, which is Everblaze. Alright guys, next up we've got Everblaze, and a lot happens in this book, and I'm kind of like not recalling. I never really remember what happens in this book, to be honest. Not something I'll talk about in the review part of this. I know Sophie gets like her abilities taken away. We start figuring out the murder between Jolie, like Sophie investigates with Bertina and starts trying to find out the past of Jolie's murder and stuff like that, as well as yeah, her abilities getting taken away. And one more thing, oh yeah, the mind healing with Fenton. So I guess those are 3 things that like help to like refresh you about it. I also think something with the ogres happened in this book, like the ogres started to kind of like cause a little bit of panic in the cities, and that was super cool. So this is kind of like a transition book for me. Like it doesn't seem like a definitive book, like it's just carrying everything over. We're getting a lot more information about Jolie's murder. We're getting more information about the ogres, how they're like becoming a little bit more hostile and stuff. And what I will say is the whole thing, when I first read that Brant killed Jolie, you know, I get shocked every single time. Like, Brant started the fire that killed Jolie, and I can't really remember like if it was an accident or not, or if he planned to kill her, but just like seeing him and be the one like in the Neverseen, like that was a total mind blow. And seeing like how Sophie throughout the book was trying to piece together the information, and by the end you could almost guess the murderer, and it was just really nice to like see her like go decode Jolie's notebook and search around her room and ask Bertina for the clues and stuff. And so I just really enjoyed that part of the book where she's just trying to learn about Jolie's parents and stuff, or no, Jolie as a person, and I guess it was just caused a lot of tension as well. Another thing that I really liked was the kind of the whole ability restricting thing, and like Sophie going into the, you know, Ogre King's his mind basically and stealing information from his head. That caused a whole dilemma to go on, which I really liked. Like, Sophie is so brave and strong, like I love it. But that caused a whole incident, and then basically now Sophie had to go to like a, what's it called, a tribunal, and she basically got her abilities like taken away. They put the thing on her. That caused a lot of tension as well, and it just shows the emotional trauma like of stuff that Sophie has to go through, because that's terrible. Sophie had to go through that. I just cried along with her. Like, that just stops her abilities. Like, and even though she doesn't even use her abilities that much, it's still like just so limiting, and like you can see kind of like the negativity of the council. Like, this is the first time, I guess, where we see the definitive negativity of the council, and where kind of Shannon starts to shift into a way that like the council is not that great, and there is some things about the council that we need to change. And so I really like that shift in the series as well. The healing thing with Fenton, the mind healing, that totally twisted everything up. I don't really remember what the purpose of healing Fenton's mind was, because it just made him alive again, I guess. So I didn't really understand why they did that, but I mean, they were able to kind of start glimpsing some of memories. But yeah, that came with a lot of losses, and with Kenrick's death and stuff, that was so sad, because every time I kind of think about this book, it's like Kenrick died. He could have been like Sophie's. Yeah, it's just crazy, and I don't even know what to think about this book. It was really incredible. I used to like rate this to kind of low on my list because I just kind of forgot about it a lot, but it had some pretty good content in here. I also think they started to kind of uncover the mystery of the disappearing boy, and like Sophie went with Counselor Tarek to her old home. Like, there's just a lot of reminiscing and information. I feel like this was a great book to learn more and more and more. It was great. I love this book so much, and I really especially liked at the end learning like with Lady Gisela. Oh, there's even more that I forgot about this book. This was the thing with like the leak, like leaking information and stuff. So we found out that Keith, one of his parents with the Neverseen, and then he realized that Keith's dad or whatever was not the Neverseen member, and it was Keith's mom. Like, that was crazy, and it just introduced a lot more things. And I feel like this book was just such a great transition book through the 4th and the 5th books, because it just totally twisted everything up. It was great. I love this so much. But yeah, let's get into my favorite book of the series, Neverseen, because I've talked about this enough. Ooh, alright guys, we are halfway through. Next book is Neverseen by Shannon Messenger, and this is by far my favorite. But basically, this book is, you know, again, very drastically different from the rest. Like, every book is so unique, and I love it. People compare KotLC to Harry Potter. I don't know why, though, because Harry Potter is so repetitive. They go onto the train every single year, then they get off the train, they go through all the feasts and events and stuff. This is not repetitive like that. There's not, like, years of school, or, like, this book, they're not even going to Foxfire. So it's pretty crazy. This book basically is set when, you know, Sophie, Keith, Fitz, Dex, Biana are going to a Louveterre, basically, this Black Swan's hideout, to join the Black Swan. I love that first scene, but anyways, let's keep going. We also find out soon enough that the ogres are behind this weird plague that's affecting the gnomes and the living things in the neutral territories, and also Black Swan is ready to rescue Prentice. They're also going to Exilium. There's a lot of cool stuff in this book, and then at the end, we get this whole scene where they invade Ravagog. It was a crazy book. I loved the more deep knowledge about the ogres. It was crazy. I loved it, and this is also the first step of the Neverseen's plan to overthrow each species. Like, this is the demise of the ogres, and then later they'll go for the trolls and the dwarves and all that stuff. It's really crazy. I love this book so much, and just from the beginning I was hooked. The first like 100 pages are great when they're escaping to get to the Black Swan's hideout. They're going through this interesting scavenger hunt, going through this picture of Sophie's mind, racing through Italy to go to the path of the privileged, and then find out all the clues in the scavenger hunt and get to the Black Swan's hideout and ride on the Echidons. And it was so funny how, like, you know, Keith and Dex had to share the Louverator, and as soon as they got to a Louveterre, I fell in love. I'm obsessed with the Louveterre. It's an amazing. It's the best KotLC setting. The magical tree houses for the boys and the girls in the common room, and the cave with the emotions that like Sophie, Keith, and Fitz had. It was crazy. I loved it. And we start finding out the information about the gnomes and the plague, and then we also start learning more about Lady Gisela, and then, you know, Keith enacts the plan. It was crazy, and then we even get crazier when we rescue Prentice, and then they're sent us to Exilium, and then we had to trade Gethin for Prentice and stuff, and then we have to get the information from Prentice, and then there's this whole thing with Exilium, and love Exilium too, the school. It was just really interesting learning about that, and then also the twins. We get to learn more about the twins, Tam and Lynn. It was great, and I mean, and then we get to go to Ravagog and stuff. So that's like a pretty good summary of my book. But if you can like just see how I'm talking, I'm so excited to talk about this book. It's just the best book by far. I remember this is the book that like was the latest one out when I started reading this. Like there was no Lodestar when I started reading this. This was the last book. So this was kind of like the longest wait. I had to wait for the next book. And I don't even remember like reading Lodestar after this. Like I waited so long with this book. And I also read it along with a group of friends. We started making this movie trailer. Like I was just so obsessed with this book, and I kept rereading it a bunch, and it was so great. I mean, just everything between the ogres and the Aluvatar and the gnomes. Just got a lot of tension. Fintan kind of caused a bunch of havoc, and the Cure, and there's like Kala, and Kala was an amazing character. It was just an amazing book. I could talk about this for hours, but unfortunately I don't have that time. I loved every part of it, and like Kala was so sad to, you know, sacrifice herself, but I also wasn't really sad about that because she was saving everyone. Like, you know, she was just doing what she could, and I just really appreciate like Kala for stepping up like that. Like, yes, go girl, you got this. But yeah, I love this book so much, if you can just see by the expression on my face. And I want to keep this video for me talking about each book for 5 minutes. Like, I see now that it's been 4 minutes and 54 seconds of me talking about this. I'm trying to get to talk about everyone for like 5 minutes. So I'm gonna put this one down and we're gonna talk about the next one. I'm stopping myself. Let's talk about Lodestar. Alright guys, we are halfway through. This video is so long, and I've tried to put off recording this for so long because I've always hated recording long videos. But anyways, Lodestar, let's talk about it. Lodestar. What am I doing? Okay, anyways, Lodestar is basically a book that I also don't forget, but I also really love. Oh, I didn't even talk about this in Neverseen, but Keith betrayed Sophie in this book, and basically in this book, you know, Keith is in the Neverseen, and so there's that whole thing. Like, they start out with Sophie going to midterms, where Keith is actually there pretending to be Magnate Forkle or Mr. Forkle or whatever, and he comes in and Keith is revealed to be there, and then he's like, oh, let me protect you, let me tell you, and then he gets Sophie to trust Keith, and then so Sophie and Keith start talking like with their telepathetic conversations, and then, oh, this is the book with Luminaria, which is even better. Also, oh yeah, Exile starts coming to Foxfire. Like, it was a really great book. This book has a bunch of elements and stuff that I loved. You know, the tension between the ogres is even more, I feel like, with the peace treaty happening, and also Gethin being, they captured Gethin. Oh, and this is the book where they also capture like Alvar and stuff, which they capture them. They wanted to be captured so they could bring down Luminaria for the peace treaty. I also just really love the tension with like Keith being in the Neverseen, like Sophie having to worry over him. Like, that was so cute. That was kind of where I started like thinking about Sophie more. Like, Sophie was always trying to reach out to Keith more than Fitz, and she was really caring about him, worrying about him, and it was just so evident that she, you know, started to like him, and I liked that part where she was just getting more opened up to Keith. I also really liked the whole new twist with Exilium coming to Foxfire, and like, I guess Lynn and the other Exilium students, Tam too, started going to Foxfire and stuff, and they started learning like skills, and I mean, that was a good progress for me. Like, I've always never really liked the counselors, like, you know, enforcing things by abilities and being like, oh, you're matchless because you have an ability. That's not something you can control. We've learned that. Like, you are born with your ability, and you can't manifest something that you don't have, I guess. So that makes sense. So yeah, I liked how the counselor started enforcing a better policy about the abilities. Yeah, I liked that part. I liked the peace treaty, and also this was like the saddest book. Like, this is the book that I actually cried on. I don't think I've cried on any of the other books. Mr. Forkle dying at the end of this book, which I know I'm like skipping back and forth across the book. Mr. Forkle's death was the saddest. I was so sad, especially because Mr. Forkle was such a father figure for Sophie. He definitely was always there for her. I mean, he was the one who created her, and basically, you know, I looked up to him so much, and I lost my track of thought because now I'm thinking about like the whole like earthquake that brought down Luminaria. Like, that was so smart of Shannon. They foreshadowed the endings. The foreshadowing in this book was great, by the way. The little things with like when they captured the Neverseen members, like they were smiling, they were not looking happy. And even Sophie noticed at the Luminaria, like when Fintan came, like she was noticing that the people were smiling when they were meditating, the Neverseen members. They were happy. Sophie was like, why are they happy? They also learned the skill of like outward channeling or whatever, and like splitting things, like planting a seed in an object and making it explode. Like, that was really cool to me, and like seeing how they learned that skill, and it all just kind of clicked into place. And it was like this, I remember it was just this crazy plot point that I was like, whoa, like I was wowed by it. And the foreshadowing was really great. The writing in this book was just great in general. Also learning more about like shadows, like I guess Tam, you know, was able to play with shadows more in this book. We learned just a lot more about the Neverseen's hideout, the Neverseen's way of being, with Keith being there, and then we got Keith back at the end. It was a great book, and just kind of like, you know, seeing the end, just how like the whole world was ruptured from this event. It was great, and I don't really have much to say about this. Another wonderful, wonderful book. I enjoyed reading it, and I guess after this is Nightfall, so let's get into it. We are slowly but surely getting through these books, guys, but the next one is Nightfall by Shannon Messenger. I don't know why I say Shannon Messenger. Y'all know that's by not Shannon Messenger, but look at the cover. It's great. I'm burping so much while I'm filming. Okay. Anyways, from the last scene, or the last sentence of Lodestar, we are immediately getting our worlds turned around with, you know, the humans being introduced to the series. I love this new reintroduction to the series almost, because we kind of get, you know, Sophie's sister being brought into the lost cities and stuff, and it was almost like a reintroduction for me to too, and like how, you know, Sophie was introduced to the series. So I don't know, I don't really know how to explain this, but like that's kind of how I felt like it was like almost a reintroduction to the series. I also love the whole human aspect where Neverseen started involving Sophie's human parents, and also added this tension too, like the whole time, like you could know that Sophie's parents were being tortured, and it was just a huge plot twist in general with like Sophie's sister being at, you know, the home and being like, Sophie, and then we just got to see like kind of Sophie and her sister bond so well. Like that was so cute, and like just kind of this whole deep and dark conspiracy. Like this book really transforms me into like the kind of the darker books, because like a lot of the other books are kind of light and stuff. This kind of starts making it dark because like the human experimentation, the torture and all that stuff, and I guess like the whole legacy with Keith on like uncovering his memories. And yeah, that's also another good point. Like we start to learn stuff about Keith's memories, like we get to go more into depth about that. That was really great, and just learning about more about Keith's legacy, and like Keith being brought up more, like just that's, you know, something that I want from the series. If like Keith is more prominent, that means that he's gonna be more important and that he can be a bigger candidate for Sophie's love. Like that's kind of my mojo. Like if Keith is gonna be seen more, he's probably gonna be, you know, more likely to date Sophie, and that's why I'm really excited for Unlocked and stuff, because Keith and Sophie are gonna be the main point of views, which is really cool. So I'm so excited to see that. But we're going back to Nightfall again. We also did see kind of like quite a lot of Keith action, but I also really liked going to the Ogre Capital, like seeing that Keith and King Dimitar fight. That was really great. And again, kind of like learning the secret about Nightfall, going to that original Nightfall, finding Alvar, like not having his memory, or we don't find that out to the last of the book, and we'll talk about that more in Flashback. But like just seeing him left by the Neverseen members is like, what's happening? Like that starts a whole like debacle. And then going to Lynn and Tam's like parents' house, that was really cool as well. Also the whole like conspiracy and mystery with the Saporidine, the sleeping chemical thing that they started talking about in this book, was really cool. I feel like just learning more about like the ogres, like bacteria, that was fun to talk about and learn about and read about, and like go to the flower site, and also learning about Livy, that was really fun. I could endlessly talk about this book as well, but the last part was so great. Like the epic boss battle, almost like the fight with the Neverseen at the end, was really cool. And seeing Lady Gisela, like Lady Gisela is a total kick butt kind of gal, and that's why she's my favorite Neverseen member. And seeing her kind of like just take out, you know, Lady Vespera, and just kind of like totally rocking the whole political system within the Neverseen, that was crazy. And just seeing her kind of like, you know, rise to power, and like there's just a lot of cool stuff with the archetype and Nightfall. There was so much fun content in this book, and we just learned a lot about like more of the Neverseen, and like learning more about Lady Gisela and Nightfall and Atlantis, and more about humans. I just love that whole aspect. And Bronte was a lot better too when he like, you know, flew around on the alicorns with Amy and stuff. Like that was really fun, and just seeing how the counselors were more open to Amy being in the Lost Cities, I thought that was super cool. This book is definitely really great. I mean, I remember there was like one scene where like Sophie researching a bunch, and like she was like just totally like bored by just going and walking around Nightfall or whatever, or Atlantis, every single day, and like researching books, and she was like, we're not getting anywhere. And I don't really like the pouting attitude, so that wasn't a great part of the book, but everything else was really great. I just love this book so much. I don't have much complaints. Let's get into the next book, and we are actually getting pretty close to the end, so that's good. If you're still watching, thank you. I swear we're gonna have like an hour of footage that I have to edit through tomorrow. Okay, anyways, the second last book is Flashback by Shannon Messenger, and this was my least favorite book, so let's dive into those thoughts. This book is really highly centered around the trolls, as well as the alicorn being pregnant, and also Sophie and Fitz's relationship and the shadow flux. It was pretty good. I rated this 4 stars. The other books were all 5 stars, just because of this one scene or whatever. In the start, I guess, okay, actually, first I'll like refresh you guys, but we start with like Alvar's tribunal and stuff, and like Alvar, you know, forgot his memories, and so they're calling a tribunal for that, and they allow Alvar to, I guess, stay at the Vacker place of residence. He needs to prove his worth or whatever, and he needs to like prove that he lost his memories and that he's gonna be a better person. Fitz is really angry about that because he wants Alvar to die and to go to jail and stuff. He's like, no, Alvar, no, you're not allowed to be in my life. Anyways, I don't know what I'm saying. This video is taking a lot out of me. But yeah, so Fitz is gonna be a douchebag about it and be like really angry, so he goes and storms off. Sophie chases after them. Oh no, the Neverseen have tracked them and are then going to really severely injure them. For 300 pages of the book, the Neverseen worked with this shadow flux. We're introduced to this new Neverseen member called Umber, who has this like weird crazy shade power, and she shoots it at Fitz and Sophie. Barely Wiley and Dex come to the rescue and, you know, save them, but basically they're in the hospital for like a few weeks. And I guess Shannon goes way into detail about these 3 weeks too. She could have just been like, the 3 weeks were endless, and she just talked whatever, but she went into full detail and had 300 pages in in the hospital. It was so boring. I mean, it was a little bit better. Every time I read it, I get more tolerant of it because it's like, it's just a book. I can't get too mad about it, but like, it's still kind of boring, like being in that one setting for 300 pages and just dialogue after dialogue and after dialogue, and there's no action. There's just her sitting in the bed. But we also got to see like Sophie sorting through Keith's memories and the whole like shade, like shadow flux inflicting upon her and like not infecting her, but like impacting her. Again, I like it more as I read it again and again and again. Like I like this the third time around more than the, you know, second time around. So yeah, I was more tolerant about this, but what really starts to get like really great is where we really get to explore like Sophie and Fitz's relationship. Like they got really close, like being so near death experience, and they started like dating or whatever. They almost kissed, but then we also get the alarming news that Sylvanie is like becoming pregnant, and then Sophie's bodyguard, we learned that there's this way to save the babies because Sylvanie's babies aren't going to make it, and then the troll, Tarina's bodyguard or whatever, Sophie's bodyguard Tarina, offers her this like allegiance, or not this allegiance, like this alliance, and then she offers for the babies to like go into like a troll hive, and then we learn so much about the troll hives and the transport pods and the trolls and like how they're birthed. It's so cool, and we learn a lot more about the trolls, which I really loved. That was a great addition to the book. We stan. But yeah, we get to learn about the trolls, the alicorn babies. Like there's high tension of like Sophie and Fitz going to Luciavacker and asking for a transport pod, and like they have to construct a whole nother like hive for the babies. They finally get it into it, and then we learn from Finton that there's this attack coming on the Celestial Festival, and then they have to prepare for that. And just the whole meeting with Finton was really cool as well. But then we go to the Celestial Festival. I guess this was kind of like the first time Sophie and her team kind of won against like the Neverseen, and like they started to kind of fight back because the Neverseen lost a member. The Neverseen's fight did not go how it wanted. We also got to learn more about the Vacker legacy, and you know, Alvar, predictable as always, came out, and he was evil again, and he basically started causing havoc. And then the trolls came out, and you know, basically the Neverseen wreaked havoc on Everglen. It was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool fight. But then what happened at the end is Tam goes to, what's it called? Tam goes to the Neverseen because Lady Gisela does this ultimatum where she's like, Tam, you gotta come with me or the Alicorns are gonna die, because she shoots them with Silperdine, and it was crazy to see that. And you know, of course Tam has to go so that the Alicorns can survive and the baby Alicorns can survive. And then after that, the baby Alicorns hatch, and like it's all a happy thing. Oh, they're all happy, but not really happy because Tam's in the Neverseen. Sophie goes to get like a matchmaking list or whatever because, you know, she's so love-struck by Fitz, and she goes, and then she finds out that she cannot be matched, and she's unmatchable, and like she's like, oh no. And that's the end of the book, kiddos. Which I'll talk more about the unmatchable thing in the legacy talk, which is gonna be my longest segment. But yeah, the unmatchable thing, totally, I loved it, and it's gonna like, it's a crazy plot twist, and I loved how it actually turned out, because a lot of theories about how Fitz was gonna freak out about the matchmaking list were completely accurate, and he did flip out. And we'll talk about legacy in a second. So yeah, I'm gonna stop my recording and start it again just because I like to do that. So yeah, all right, I'll see you guys. I'll do it now. We'll go. Alright guys, we're on to the last book, Legacy by Shannon Messenger. I'm so excited. I've been filming for like an hour now. It's, you know, totally just messing with my mind. But the only thing that's keeping me going is like, I'm gonna be able to watch Netflix after this and chill for the rest of the night. So I'm gonna get through this, and I'm gonna watch the Netflix, and we're gonna upload the footage so that I can edit it tomorrow and upload it. But anyways, y'all don't need to hear about that. Let's talk about the last book of Shannon Messenger's Keep Your Lost City series, Legacy, which was my second favorite book. It was originally like tied with Neverseen. Then I realized that it wasn't as good as it sounded, or wasn't good as it was. But first, I want to talk more about the matchmaking list, because Sophie, as you know, is flustered by it. And my theories was that like Sophie was not really going to come to Fitz. She was going to be shy about the matchmaking list. She wasn't going to go to Fitz about it. She was going to hide it, or if she was, she's going to tell it to him, and he was going to get mad at her, and like that really was going to cause a problem with their relationship. And guess what happened? Sophie hid the unmatchable status, and she went to Keith about it first. She didn't really tell Fitz, and Fitz had to find out walking in on Sophie and Keith talking about it. It was crazy. It did cause a lot of problems in their relationship. And I mean, I'm sorry for the Sophie strippers out there, but I loved this problematic tea, like this whole interesting ship war with this like unmatchable things. Like Keith was so sweet about her being unmatchable. He was like, it shouldn't matter for the people that you know, care about you. And he was totally right, because Fitz does not care about her if he, you know, thinks that matchmaking is going to change anything. Keith was so sweet about it. I loved it. And he even was like, let's go find out your biological parents. But anyways, that's kind of like what I want to talk about ship wise. I'll talk more about the end of the video about like the whole Sophitz breakup and the Sophitz fight, and Fitz actually being mad at her and saying that it would change things if she couldn't find her biological parents. But let's get to the start again. Kind of Sophie first starts meeting up with Mr. Forkle, and that first chapter where she learned so much. I mean, I'm gonna just tell you guys, I was so interested in the geography. Like Mr. Forkle, and Sophie started talking about like the capitals of all the elves and stuff, and how they were located on the map, and like how each one was spread out through each countries and the continents. That was so cool, just learning about how the lost cities were located. Also learning about like Sophie's role, like she's the one who's supposed to unite the humans and the elves, as well as what blew my mind, like learning about the Neverseen's plan to attack like each intelligent species until they could just target the, the elves. It was crazy. The Neverseen are so smart. The series seemed to go on and on and on, but Shannon like laying down the plot of the Neverseen and like the final, hoorah with them, like that is crazy. I'm so excited about that. And it's finally kind of wrapping it up. And then as soon as she gets home, Tam starts to call her and says that Lady Gisela is ordering Tam to kill Keith. It makes everything go crazy, and I'm like, what? And then she goes to Keith to tell him, and then there's this whole interesting relationship between Sophie and Keith forming, and then she has to talk about the unmatchable status, and Rose's humor is freaking amazing in this book. I loved that so much. And we're not even scratching the surface. Like, you can just see how excited I was to read this book and get all this information. And then after that, Sophie was appointed to be a regent, and Team Valiant formed, and she went up to the freaking space to get like the light purity and the shadow purity and the moon purity. Like, it was crazy. And then she signed her thing, and she became a regent, and she started to gain public interest, and she was walking out in her like dire wolf cape and stuff, and she was like, I'm a queen, I'm a regent, let's go. And then she just kind of walked off and faded away. It was great. I loved that so much. And also like the whole tension between Counselor Orlai, Counselor Bronte, and Sophie, that started. And Counselor Orlai, the foreshadowing started. Let's talk more about Counselor Orlai. But every time I read that scene where we find out that Counselor Orlai is Sophie's biological mother, I scream, I flip out. It's one of the best written scenes. And just seeing that foreshadowing with like Keith being like, empaths always have like a lie or like a tell of their lies, and Sophie's like, are you my biological mother? Orlai's like, no. She counted her heartbeats. Beat, 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 re-skipped beats, and then she's like, oh, you're my mother. It was crazy. I loved it so much. Okay, anyways, and then going back to the dwarves, it was so cool to explore the dwarven world. I love that. Just seeing how like Sophie had to like stop the Neverseen, and she knew that the Neverseen were targeting the dwarves, but like with what? So they had to do this really crazy stuff. And also seeing Sophie work with Team Valiant, seeing like that whole like leadership kind of happen, like with Sophie leading the team, like her leadership failing, like it just kind of shows like how not all of us are leaders or whatever, and we have to like take time to learn leadership skills. Again, the angst within like the dwarven capital, and like going through the hall that like made them all spooky, and then also like kind of finding out like Lord Cassius's like memories, and also going to Alvar and like finding him still alive, and also offering information, and just finding the whole thing about the Ascension legacy, and how like Lady Gisela and Lord Cassius like both like inhaled this like weird medicine, and it was supposed to change like Keith, or Keith was going to manifest another ability, and it was kind of foreshadowing the thing at the end. And then I don't really know what else to talk about in this first part. Then Sophie, I guess, had the revelation that she biological mother was Orlai, like she found that out. Oh, we also got to find out in this book like the enhancing memory with Amy, and like she was enhancing on Amy, and Amy got really mentally traumatized, as well as Sophie. That was the whole thing. Then we go to the Lone War epic scene at the end, where Keith basically is now in this coma, like something really bad happened to him. We find out that King Enki, or not King Enki, but the Dwarven King was betraying them. There was so much weird and cool stuff in this ending scene, and we also got Glimmer, and Sophie was running with Keith. I could talk about this for hours, but like I just remember like when Sophie was like carrying Keith, and she was running and she was teleporting to get him to the hospital. That was so cute. I love that so much. There's also that big scene that before that happened to Lone War, that like Sophie and Fitz broke up basically, or they were almost broke up. It was solidified in the end, but Sophie and Fitz had this giant fight where Fitz basically said that it would ruin things for us about Sophie's matchable. Like, she was so mad that when he said us, like it wouldn't ruin, like it totally clearly ruined things for Sophie, and she was really upset about the matchmaking status. Fitz said it's going to ruin things for us. It's going to ruin things for him if Sophie is unmatchable. So that was a no-no. He got caught on that, and their relationship I don't know how Sophie's fans still have hope after this scene. I really don't genuinely understand how people could have hope after Fitz basically said it's gonna ruin us. When he said that, Sophie reacted, I reacted too. That's a no-no, you cannot say that. But yeah, and then it got solidified, and basically Sophie friend-zoned him. She was like, she gave Fitz a friendly squeeze, and Fitz laughed at her like a friend. And basically, I think this is Shannon's way of like closing off that love triangle or whatever. Keith wakes up, Sophie and Keith are going to get together. That's OTP, that's period. That's amazing. And I'm so sad that, like, Keith's in a coma, but, like, it's kind of cool because now, Orlai with his forgotten secret, we're gonna learn so much. I'm so excited. There's literally so many theories going around in my head. The main thing is Sophie and Keith are gonna get together. That's like my main theory, and I know it's gonna happen. I've done my analytics. I've done my, you know, professional literature analysis in my KotLC fanbase channel. I know what I'm talking about. I know that it's gonna happen. It's gonna be great. The whole Forgotten Secret thing, I'm so excited to find out what Keith's ability is and just totally ride out like this last portion of the series. I'm so excited. It's gonna be great. And Shannon Messenger, you got this. Don't make this next book flop. I promise you. If Unlocked is bad, I'm not going to read the next book after that. That's how I blackmail authors or whatever. Anyways, I really need to end this video off. We're gonna do one more final talk about Keeper Lost Cities, and then we are going to get into an outro. But yeah, Legacy was so good. So yeah, let's get into our last two kind of segments, the general series thoughts and the outro, because I've been talking for hours. Alright guys, welcome back to the non-spoiler general series thoughts on the whole book series. Oh my gosh. Oh god, this is so frustrating. But yeah, basically if you kind of skip to the end, this is going to be my non-spoiler, just general thoughts on the series after I've talked about every single book. And guys, I've been talking for hours, so if you had to skip through that, like, good job, because I talked forever on these books. But yeah, basically I love this series so much, I cannot keep holding all these books. Yeah, that hurts so much. But yeah, basically I just love this series so much. What I really love about this is the characters and the lovability just within the world and the settings, and like, you want to be an elf, you want to experience this yourself. It gets like really excited and hyped up, and you want to talk to people about it. Like, I've had so much fun talking about it with you guys and in my other channel, and like with this channel, and like, you know, talking about it on live streams, talking about it in person with people. Like, this series just gets you excited about reading, and it was one of the series that really transformed me into the reader that I am today. So I'm always going to recommend this. It's a middle grade, but like, it's so much more than that for me. It's like a whole opportunity. It's what got me into YouTube. Just done so much for me and my life, and it's not just a series. It's not like just a fun thing to read. It's so impactful. The messages and the themes are so great, and the characters are wonderful, and I don't know, I cannot love this series more. And like, you know, I'm gonna get emotional or whatever, but like, I've read this series so many times. It is my favorite series. Sometimes I've questioned that in the past when I've read these amazing series, but like, just thinking how it's impacted me, and like seeing the author, and like making these whole YouTube videos about it in this YouTube channel, and getting to experience many friendships, and, you know, have these hobbies and passions that I have are all spinning off from this one series and this one book. And like, it's just so much luck that I've been able to find this, and again, it's so impactful on me. I love it so much, and I mean, that's just kind of the impactfulness of it. The series is good at it in its own too. The conspiracies, the mysteries, total just creativeness. Like, Shannon Messenger had to create this world, like the plot twist. There's literally no other way I can describe this. It's just so creative, it's so original. I don't know why people like compare this to Harry Potter. It's an amazing series, and I mean, I love it so much. I can't really say much more than that. Like, guys, it's a 5-star read. There's one 4-star book in there, but I'm, you know, obsessed with it. I love this series so much, and I'm so glad I got to reread it recently, and I cannot wait for the next book. So yeah, I guess that wraps up all my thoughts about this wonderful series. I actually had a really great time reflecting on this. I was kind of like really nervous and like, I did not want to start this review or whatever, but like, I had such a great time going through these books again, and I want to read this series again soon. But yeah, I think that wraps up with this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, or whatever you saw from it, make sure to leave a like on this video. That would really help me, and also just show your support for the Keeper Lost Cities. Like, do you like Keeper Lost Cities? Hit the like button, and I'll know. Also, make sure to comment down below your thoughts on my review. Like, let's have a really good discussion. I don't care how long your comment is. What do you think of Keeper Lost Cities series? Or maybe give me a brief of what you thought on each book. That would be really cool, and like the general series thoughts. But yeah, I actually got back to everyone on my last video, so I hope I can do that again. Subscribe. If you want more bookish content from me, I'll probably do more KotLC videos in the future, because I know those are going to perform well. So yeah, make sure to subscribe for me for more bookish content every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Also, make sure to watch my last video is about the July books, or the books I want to really read in July. I'm tripping over my words. Got a really ambitious TBR, so make sure to click up there to see what the books I want to read in July. Like, you know, click on that. Goodbye. But yeah, I think that's all I had to say. Thank you guys so much for all your support and love, and I just love you guys so much, and I hope you have a great reading month, and happy reading to you. See ya. Aloha. Have a great day. And I'll see you in the next video. Yeah, love you guys so much. See ya. Love you so much.